Hello everyone, I am SportsWiz 101 and today I'll be giving you my predictions based on the predictions I've made about the AFC and NFC for the 2022 NFL season. This will be for the playoff games going into this season. Now, if you want my thoughts on all these teams and all the other teams in the NFL, you can look at my AFC and NFC predictions. But for now, I'm going to take a look at the matchups we set up. So in the AFC, that is Ravens versus Colts, Broncos versus Chiefs, and Chargers versus Bengals. Bills get the bye. In the NFC, it's the Vikings taking on the Cowboys, the 49ers taking on the Packers, and the Eagles taking on the Bucks. Without further ado, let's get started with the AFC. So looking at the AFC, first up, Ravens taking on the Colts. I look at this matchup and I ask myself, which quarterback do I trust more in the postseason? And for me, I trust the guy who blew the 28-3 lead over Lamar Jackson. I am just not that confident in Lamar in the playoffs. I'm not that confident in playoff Lamar. Simple as that. However, I do think a team coached by Frank Reich and a team quarterbacked by Matt Ryan will have just enough to get past the Ravens. Next up, a showdown in the AFC West. The Broncos and the Chiefs. Here, I think the Arrowhead factor is a real thing here. And I think it's a little too much for Denver to overcome. Great start to the Russell Wilson era, though, for the Broncos. Chiefs win, go to the divisional round. This last matchup, Chargers-Bengals, I think is the most interesting matchup of the opening round. AFC or NFC. Because I could very easily see this game going either way. It's kind of a coin flip for me. And I'm going with my gut right now. And my gut says Bengals lose in the playoffs. So I'm taking the Chargers over Cincinnati in what's bound to be an instant classic, if indeed it does happen. Looking on now at the NFC. Vikings taking on the Cowboys. I think Minnesota, this is a game they probably should win, but I think there's just something about the Cowboys that forced the Cowboys to have the Vikings number. And so there I'm taking Dallas into the divisional round. 49ers taking on the Packers. The coaching advantage of the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan is too much for the Green Bay to overcome, and San Francisco makes it to the divisional round once again. Eagles, Buccaneers, this is a rematch of last year's wild card showdown, and I don't think there's much of a difference here. Tampa Bay rolls to an easy victory. Now looking in divisional round matchup, Colts taking on the Chiefs. I think Kansas City will be able to slow down Matt Ryan enough to get the victory here over the Colts. They make it to the AFC Championship for a fifth straight season. Now the question is, do they host for a fifth straight season? This is another game. Chargers-Bills, that's another game that I think if it does happen in the playoffs, it's got instant classic written all over it. But here, I think Buffalo, instead of being the victims of a wide right, are the benefactors of a wide right. Yeah, that's my prediction. Chargers miss a field goal as time expires, and that sends Buffalo to the championship. They host the AFC Championship. I believe it's the first time since the 90s. I'd have to look up exactly what year in the 90s, but Bills hosting the AFC Championship, and what do you know who will be looking across the aisle from them? But the team that's knocked him out of the playoffs the last couple of years, the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see how I look at that game later on. Next up, the NFC postseason. Starting off, Cowboys and Buccaneers. Tampa Bay, I think, should be able to win this game. I'm not sure that Dallas will be able to put a lot of pressure on Tom Brady. And really, I think pressure is really the key to beating a Tom Brady-led team. If you can get pressure on Tom Brady, you got a good shot at beating him. And I don't think Dallas is going to be able to provide that pressure in the passing game. So Tampa Bay wins in the divisional round. They go to the AFC Championship, either to be hosted or to visit the LA Rams. 49ers Rams, a big old rivalry that saw the NFC title game last year. This would be a rematch of that NFC Championship game. And ultimately, I think Sean McVay will just have one too many tricks in his book. One too many tricks up his sleeve, you should say. And that will allow the Rams into the NFC Championship game. Looking on championship games, the AFC Championship. Chiefs at Bills. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have had this rivalry. They've had this rivalry with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And it's been built up in the media. It's been thought of as this generation's version of Brady versus Manning. Peyton Manning, that is. And I could very easily see that, to be perfectly honest. However, you gotta think that in order for this to be a rivalry, Buffalo is going to need to get some over Kansas City in important situations. And you gotta think, if it's not this year that happens, when is it going to happen? And so, I'm going to take the Bills here to win the AFC Championship for the first time since the 90s. And on to the Super Bowl. Looking now, NFC Championship, Buccaneers, Rams. Look, there's two teams I think that have a Bucs number. They're just not going to do that well when they play them. And that's the Rams. And that's partly because Rams are one of the teams. Because I think, like I said, you got to get pressure on Tom Brady if you're going to beat him. And the Rams, they can get pressure on some of the better quarterbacks, especially seeing as they got Aaron Donald back there. Yeah, Rams win the NFC Championship. They go to the Super Bowl for the second year in a row. This time they won't host it. It'll be in Arizona, the home of the Cardinals. So maybe a bit of a home field advantage, though. Wouldn't be surprised if Bills Mafia took over Glendale Stadium either. But anyway, looking at the Super Bowl, Bills, Rams. This matchup will take place week 1, Thursday night, to kick off the entire season. And I think it ends the entire season. The only question then is, who do I think would win? Bills versus Rams in Arizona. You know what? I said it before. I'll say it again. If this is not Buffalo's year, to finally win their first Super Bowl in franchise history, when are they going to do it? When is Buffalo going to win a Super Bowl if not this year? Elsewise, I think Josh Allen here then leads them to the Super Bowl victory over the LA Rams in what's sure to be a great matchup there. Buffalo is my pick to win the Super Bowl here in 2022. But there you go. My predictions for the NFL postseason are in. How are yours? Now, if you like this, please like and subscribe for more to come in the coming weeks. I'll try to get predictions of each week of the NFL season in, and you can expect those weekly. But until then, I've been the Sports Wiz 101, and I will see you all later.